Hello again, Internet. Welcome back to Let's Play KSP2. Or welcome to it, since this is the first video proper. And oh my goodness, this loading screen. Having seen this for the first time after like a whole year of, it's a little weird. Oh, there's one of my few contributions to the game proper. The design of that spaceship. I didn't do the real work of actually implementing it in the game. That was Zim, not me, but I got to design them, and it was a lot of fun. So, we're going to start a new game here, so single player, and there's my test campaign, so we'll go and delete that, and start a new one. Exploration mode, of course. Full disclosure, I am recording my voice after the fact, because I don't want you all to be, to have your eardrums destroyed by my clacky keyboard. But I'll play along with the fiction like I'm making these decisions in the now. We're going to turn science and mission rewards and docking tolerance all the way down because we're professionals. And I think that's it as far as my personal preferences. Campaign name, Let's Play KSP2. And we can keep it KSA, and for the flag I always pick these blue and white. This blue and white color scheme because it's my favorite, and then I like this little flag because it's Raph's art. I guess they're all Raph's. Well, most of them are Raph's art, but that was my favorite. We're going to keep the cadet orientation on, and I'm going to try to get through all the tutorials because I want to take a fresh look at this game and what it offers, and I don't know if I've even played through all the tutorials. Oh man, this opening cutscene too. Ah, it's great. The one instance of the KSP1 theme that I'm aware of in the game, unless Howard did some sort of leitmotif somewhere else.
New space program, leaping forward.
Not Carl Sagan.
Since the dawn of
I saw this the first time, I was like, wow, how did they get Carl Sagan to say that stuff? I don't know who this is, but they're doing a great Sagan impression.
These untold treasures may soon reveal themselves due to the efforts recently founded Kerbal Space Program.
Oh my, I think that might have been the only copy of the orientation.
Oh no.
Hold on! Slides, somewhere.
Oh, Paige.
Welcome to your first day running.
Paige may have been a mistake.
This campus hosts the greatest ever gathering of astronomers,
Oh, there's Kerbug.
astronauts, and engineers. After years of focused effort, this collection of geniuses has created...
Yeah, Paige may have been a mistake. See, what I've always wondered is, she has to grab her slides, but to my understanding, she's a disembodied AI that lives on a computer, so how does that work?
To advance our technologies further is to get up there and learn by doing. All we
It's
need
never
now
answered.
is somebody to show us how to put all these parts together. Well, we also
Because
need
it's
somebody
funny,
to help
Pope.
us out with the flying.
Should be the answer, I guess.
We need a lot of help, actually. That's why you're here. My name is Paige, by the way. If you need any hints, feel free to visit me over at the training center. Everything in there is well padded, so it's a great place to get up and running. Welcome aboard.
Alright. Let's get cracking. So we'll click through this stuff. Oh. I should do all the training. I should do it, for the sake of completion. Yeah, let's do it. Even though my opinion of Paige is so low. Oh, there was another one of my contributions to the game there, that little Kerbal's hairstyle, the one on the treadmill, did the concept art. I think that was modeled by Pablo, or it might have been Alexander, I'm not sure who it was. But, let's start from the top. How do rockets work? And then we get to enjoy Raph's animations, which are incredible. I don't know how he was able to do all the animations for this game.
Space is the place.
All the tutorial animations, they're so slick.
So you want to get to space?
Yeah.
Have you tried rockets?
I have, actually.
Rockets use fuel and engines to create thrust, which propels them forward. When a fuel tank is empty, it is dropped to stay as lightweight as possible, allowing the rocket to go even faster. These tanks, as well as other
These
extendable
tutorials
parts
really
of a rocket, are called stages.
really are so well made.
Different stages
I love
do
working with
different
Raph. He was
things.
like my
Often the
my
first
sensei.
stage is very powerful, with just enough
when I
fuel to
started
move the vehicle through the
doing
atmosphere.
sort of the graphic design for the game.
The second stage
I had to
usually has a
imitate his
low
style,
thrust engine that,
and he gave
while
me
not
so
as
much good
powerful,
advice
is
on
more fuel efficient.
how to work in Illustrator and After
After
Effects and
dropping
animate
the
things,
first
and
stage,
I
leaving the
would have been able to
Second
do
stage
half of
engine pushes the much lighter
what I
second
ended up
stage
doing without his
orbital
advice. It was great. Some nice Newton's cannon demonstration there. Approve. That's a cool effect.
On a
How do you
flight
do
to
that?
space, the final
I don't know.
stage parachutes back down to the surface.
He's a wizard.
Ideally in one piece.
I wonder if I'm gonna have enough to
Welcome
say
to the
here.
launch pad. As you
I mean, it's
embark
been
on your
forever
journey
since I
to
played through
rocket
these.
It's important to get all the crashing out of your system here in the simulator. It really
Oh, that's a
cuts
very
down on the
awkward
awkward
rocket, isn't it?
phone
Why
calls.
would I have a Mark 1
Today, you'll be
cockpit on
launching
top?
into
I don't know, I
virtual
guess it doesn't
skies
matter.
over KSC, where you'll learn how to control a rocket. Let's learn how to rotate the flight camera. That way, you can see the launch from your favorite angle. Great! You can also zoom the camera in and out. Nice! Go ahead and pick your favorite view for this launch.
Okay, we'll do, Paige.
Your rocket is ready for launch. Every good launch starts with a big green button and lots of fire. Most bad launches do too, actually. Looking good. Ascend to 1,000
No,
meters.
I want to
Then
start
we'll
pitching
learn some controls.
now. We're already past 50 meters per second. We're gonna start our gravity turn. Paige, what you talking about?
Okay, you're a kilometer up. You can still crash, but you'll have more time to correct your course if you start pointing at the... When flying a rocket or a plane, we have specific terms for moving. Pitch tilts your rocket's nose up and... Nice pitch! Now pitch up until you're
Wow,
flying straight
I
up.
don't remember so much of this stuff. It's crazy. I think this was all added for science. And when I first played through all the tutorials, I was playing in like earlier versions of the
Let's move on.
game.
Yaw steers your rocket
Like, that's a
left
great little
and right.
animation.
Try it now.
I don't remember when that was put in.
Now yaw to the left. Excellent. Now for the final control.
The little curble on like the
That's the basics of rocket
like
flight.
on the little rocket at
Feel
the
free to
mall.
experiment
It's
with
great.
controls. We can move on.
It is great. Can I bail out? No, I just have to end the tutorial, I think. Okay.
So you want to get to space?
Yes, I do.
It's time to make a rocket. A simple rocket requires 4 crucial components: a command module, fuel tank, engine, and parachute. Let's start by learning a command module allows us to control our vessel. As long as there is at least one for this lesson.
Okay.
we're gonna- Great. It doesn't look like much, but it's a promising
Oh, I realize
start.
I'm
The
skipping
next
ahead.
thing our
Maybe I
rocket
should let
needs
Paige
is a
talk.
fuel tank. Fuel or propellant.
It's
is
hard-
an
it's hard to
expendable
not just
resource
skip
used to
past
power our
her.
vessels. Without fuel, we won't be going anywhere, let alone space. Let's look at the small fuel tanks.
Maybe it's not Paige. Maybe I've been too hard on you, Paige.
How about
It's
that
probably
one?
true of any
Rocketry
tutorial. You just want
calls
to
it
just,
good
okay, let me
enough.
do the thing.
How exciting. Notice the part is once
But
again
no, I'm gonna
attached
be
to
a-
your cursor. If you
I'm gonna
place
be a
your
good boy
cursor
and
near
listen.
the bottom of your command pod, you'll see it snap into place. Then left click to attach it. Now that's beginning to look like a rocket. Well, almost. We need an engine. Here at the KSP, we have 4 different types of engines: launcher, sustainer, orbital, and deep space engines.
We also have jet engines and
Break
RCS.
free of Kerbin's soupy atmosphere, now let's add the sustainer engine to the fuel tank. Excellent! Our rocket is looking pretty great. We just need one final touch. As is, our rocket can absolutely take flight, but if we want our pilot to survive the landing, our one Kerbal rocket doesn't weigh much, so we only need an extra small parachute.
No
Let's go with
decoupler?
that one.
Alright, I'll
Now,
trust you.
congratulations! You've just built a rocket. Are you sure you haven't done this before?
I have actually. Thousands of times. Thanks for asking, Paige.
As you start to build rockets, you'll want to see your designs from other angles. Let's learn how to manipulate the camera inside the vehicle assembly building. First,
You mean what
let's
I've already been
build
doing?
nice.
Dragging the
Now,
camera
let's
around?
zoom.
Okay.
Great. Now let's pan the camera. You can also focus your camera at a specific part.
Oh yeah, that was always
If you
really
wanna view
helpful.
your rocket from
The middle
top,
click focus.
front, or
I remember
sides,
going back to
switch the
KSP1 and having that
viewpoint.
not work.
You can
I was
change
very
the camera's
irritated.
direction by selecting
And,
different sides of the view cube.
Of course, not only that, but the orthogonal view is one of those things where it's like this.
If you
This
ever
is
get
great.
lost in the VAB, you can always
You can't go
reset the
back
camera.
once you use the orthogonal view.
Nice. Now you can get at those hard to reach parts of your rocket.
It's all those little things like that in KSP2 that I really wish I could just magically copy back into KSP1. Like little stuff, little quality of life improvements, like how the parts are organized, or
Let's take it out for a little
tools
ride.
like that one that are so useful, and then you go back to KSP1 and it's like, where's my quality of life improvement?
Welcome to the launch pad. Today
This game's got a
we'll
lot of
fly
problems,
straight up.
but when it
Your
when it
rocket
sings,
should
it
be fine
sings. I have to
without
give it
any steering
credit.
inputs. But if things get out of line somehow, feel free to intervene.
Wow, we're going really fast. Can I? I think my throttle's locked. Okay, we might die. Hang on tight, Val.
You've cleared the launch tower and your flight is underway. Let's learn about staging. Rockets are constructed in sections called stages. Each stage is designed for a different part of a mission. When a stage completes its job, it's dropped to shed weight. On your right, you'll find the staging stack. It displays all of the functions contained in each stage. Every time you select the Go button, you'll activate a new stage, starting from the bottom of the stack. Each stage's fuel supply is shown on a bar next to the stage. Your active stage, Stage 1, still has a little fuel in it. When it goes dry, you'll drop that stage by selecting Go.
Well, okay then.
Your first stage is out of fuel.
Paige.
All it is doing is slowing you down. To drop that weight, you're going to activate your next stage. That will activate a decoupler, which will drop your empty stage.
Yes, I
It will
know.
also activate your next engine.
Let me do it.
Once you activate a stage, there's no going
I
back.
just want to do it. I just want to do it.
Hit
There we
go
go.
to
Thank you.
cruise that mass.
Oh no. It's going to be hard to get through these tutorials. Oh no. Oh, I'm so impatient.
Congratulations! You're nearly to space, and your next set of fuel tanks are empty. Now is
I
the
know,
time to drop
Paige.
them.
I know.
Activate the next stage to
I want to
separate
be.
those
I want to
tanks.
do it. I want to be tolerant of the tutorial. I guess if I was new at the game, if I was a little
Capsule
kid,
will now continue
it would be
cruising up.
fine. But
All
because
that's left to do is gaze back down at
because I
Kerbal.
have 12
Wonder if
years
you
of
remember
experience
the
or something in
car.
Kerbal, it's
Nice
so aggravating. I wonder how much of the negative reaction to Paige was just from, like, you know, geezers like me being impatient with being told things they
Your castle
already
has a
knew.
lot of momentum.
You know,
If you're curious
if I was
about how lucky
10,
you are, take a look at your altimeter. You're
Would
so
this be-
high that you can see the curve of
would
the
this be
horizon.
nicer? Probably.
Rocketry involves a
Maybe I
lot
can
of
test it on my
waiting between
nephew.
cool explosions. You can speed up time by selecting the time warp controls at the bottom of your screen. Check out your altimeter. See how quickly those numbers are rising? Let's ride the rest of the way up. In fact, you're about to start falling back down. Let's slow down and enjoy the view. Great job. You're now a master of time. Try not to use this new power for evil. What goes up must come down. Wind resistance will slow down your capsule's descent, but not enough to prevent it from turning into a bunch of tiny capsules when it lands. That's why we've attached a parachute. If you deploy your parachute too early, it'll be torn off. If you deploy it too late, you'll do some unplanned underground exploration. The sweet spot for Kerbin is between 20,000 and 2,000 meters. Okay, you're low enough to activate the final stage that contains your parachute. Hit go to pop your chute.
Yeah.
Nice work. The parachute will trail your capsule for a bit without fully opening. Once you've slowed down enough, it'll open all the way by itself. Your parachute is now fully deployed and slowing the capsule to a safe velocity. Congratulations! If this were real, you'd find celebratory snacks in the VAB kitchen.
Snacks. I miss the office snacks. Oh, we're back up here,
What
okay.
goes up must come down.
Wait a minute.
Wind resistance will slow down
Uh-oh.
your capsule's descent.
Did it loop me back?
Okay, you're low enough to
Let's just skip
hit
through it.
go to pop your chute.
Oh, maybe I hit replay.
Nice work. The parachute will trail your capsule for a bit without fully opening. Once you've slowed down
Yeah,
enough,
I probably hit
it'll open
replay
all the way by
instead of
itself.
exit.
Your parachute is now fully deployed.
Yep.
slowing the
Let's go
capsule.
end tutorial. Okay. I thought Paige was trying to, like, kidnap me for a second. Okay, missing the ground. Let's keep going. I'm doing them all. I have to do them all. And then we can start the game proper.
Missing the ground. If you want to visit space for more than a couple of minutes, you'll need to get to orbit. An object is in orbit when it's moving sideways so quickly that even as gravity
This is
causes it
also
to
a really good
fall,
demonstration.
it keeps missing the ground.
I do like how
As long
succinct
as
these
that
are.
object isn't slowed down by anything, it follows the same path every time it goes around the body it's orbiting. Forever.
I mean, it's pretty old
If that
hat
object is
for,
a
like,
Kerbal, it is recommended that they
you
bring
know,
lots of
long-time
snacks.
Kerbal players,
So
but
since your goal is to move horizontally at a high speed, why
I guess
not
if you're
march
new to
sideways?
this stuff, it's easy to forget as someone who's
On
like a
Kerbin,
space
the
geek
atmosphere is like a thick
how much of this is
You
just
waste
not
a
known
lot of
by
fuel trying to fly through
normal
horizontal.
people who don't think about this.
By launching
Uh,
vertically, you cut through the thickest part of the
It sounds
atmosphere
maybe a
as
little
quick as
condescending,
possible.
but you really shouldn't
Most orbital rockets
overestimate
begin
how much you
tilting
need to
toward
dumb
the
things
horizon
down
soon
to someone
after
who's
they
never
leave the
heard of
launch
it
pad.
before.
This maneuver, called a
when I
gravity
put
turn,
together
uses
KSP
the
Academy,
planet's gravity to turn the ship and reduces the amount of fuel
I was
needed
always
to
trying to
achieve a
find, like, I
stable
need a
orbit.
simpler explanation, I need a
When
simpler
launching near the
explanation,
equator, your
and just
gravity
keep
turn
making it
should point
simpler.
toward the east,
And,
since your vehicle gets a free boost from the planet's
That's
rotation.
it's a tricky
They
thing to
explain
do, to get something
Once
that's
a vehicle
this
is moving quickly enough that it's
complicated
replicating
down
the
into a
atmosphere,
simplified
it shuts
form
down its engines
that's
and
digestible to
coasts
someone who
space.
has
Once it
never
nears the
encountered
top
it,
of that arc, the
but
vehicle will
also
fire its engines a second
isn't
time to
skimping
keep
too much on
itself
the
from falling back
accuracy
down to the planet.
of what you're
And then
describing.
this turns that arc into a
I mean, the
nice
accuracy
big
is,
circle. Congratulations.
it's also
You've
important. You don't want to
missed
give
the
people
ground.
the wrong impression. You want to set them off on the right foot. But if you try to be very, very accurate, then it just leads straight to confusion. And when I would do demos of the game for, like, my community team members,
When you're making a
they'd be like,
rocket,
Pope, slow
it's often
down.
easiest to work
What are you
top to
talking about?
bottom.
I don't understand what that
Hammer
word
each
is you
stage
used.
to carry the weight
I have
of
to go
everything
back and,
above
like,
it.
okay, how can I make this
To give you a head start,
simpler?
I've already placed an upper stage, perfect for maneuvering in the vacuum of space. It could use another, more powerful stage to push it up to
Multi-stage
space
rocket.
from Kerbin's surface. Let's turn this vehicle into a multi-stage
Oh,
rocket.
okay, so this is where they,
Anytime we intend to drop an empty
I think this is
stage
the
after
tutorial they
using all of its
introduce
fuel,
the
we connect it to the
merging
stage above
system,
it using a decoupler. A
which I
decoupler
don't think
contains
I've ever
explosive
used.
bolts that, when Activated by a staging action, eject the attached stage away
I'll be
from
honest,
the
I don't
rest of the vehicle.
understand how the workspace save system in this game works.
Add that decoupler. You need to attach a larger,
You
more
think I would by
powerful
now,
lower stage
after
to the
having
bottom of your rocket.
reshot
Simple,
footage of
I've
this game
whipped up
over
a
and
new
over?
lower stage in another
I still don't
workspace.
understand it. Yeah,
You can
merging
bring saved
workspaces.
vehicles and other sub-assemblies into an in-progress workspace by merging it. Let's merge my lower stage into this VAB workspace. Out in the real
Yep.
world, this list would show
Atmospheric
all of your
lower
saved
stage.
workspaces. Here, now that the lower stage has
Huh.
been merged into your current workspace, you can see it next to the upper stage. Select the lower stage.
I wonder how much of it
and
is just
connect
a
it to the decoupler
issue of
beneath the
terminology.
upper
Like maybe
stage
that should be
to
called
create a
import
single
or something. I
two-stage
don't know.
rocket.
I know a lot of players are really confused about how the
Perfect.
workspace system works, and
Merging
I
is
am
a
too, and
very
I
powerful
don't get
tool.
it. Your guess is as good as
Anytime
mine,
you want
guys.
to reuse a particular booster, lander,
I just
or
always
other
build a
element
unique
from an
rocket for
existing rocket,
everything.
merging saves
And
you
if
the
I
hassle of
want to
making the
tweak it,
same
I just
thing over and
I
over.
copy the workspace and then start making edits and save it as something totally new. I mean, KSP1's sub-assembly
Space
system was
rockets sometimes need an extra
also a
boost.
little
In a
weird,
rare
but
case of rocket scientists naming something
maybe a
well,
little more
these
understandable.
additional
But even
rocket
that
engines are
took a lot of
called
getting used to.
boosters. Boosters are attached to the sides of a vehicle to keep
Open
them out of the
question
way
how
of
to
the main
really
engines. Solid
deal with
fuel
something
rockets
like
make
that.
Great boosters. They produce a very high thrust for a short time. Let's attach some boosters to the sides of your vehicle. We'll start by attaching 4
Because I'm sure it'll
radial
become
decouplers that
salient
will
in
eject the spent boosters when they're empty.
KSA
To make sure that these decouplers are evenly spaced
when
and
that
aligned
becomes
with
more
one
of a
another,
game.
you'll be using the symmetry tool.
They'll have to solve this problem too of how do we manage
Great. Now when
ship
you place a part
part
on one
files
side
and
of your
things like
rocket,
that
3 more evenly spaced
in a way that's
duplicates will appear
easily
around the rocket.
comprehensible.
Go ahead and add. Perfect. Now you've got
Oh, I'm
4
rushing
radial
ahead again. I'm
decouplers
sorry, Paige.
exactly where they need to be. Let's attach those solid fuel boosters.
Boosters, hammers.
Since you're still
Hammer
in full
time.
rec symmetry mode, simply attach this booster to one of the decouplers you just placed. That will attach copies of that booster to the remaining decouplers.
Yep.
Great
Check.
job. You've finished your orbital rocket. You can symmetrically place up to 8 parts at once. A feat that could until now only be achieved by certain sea creatures.
I don't remember that joke.
Before you launch a rocket, you need to plan the order of your staging events.
Staging.
Nobody wants to start out their flight by popping their parachute, right? Most parts that
Was
can be
that a
staged
double
are automatically
entendre?
assigned to stages. Their activation order can be seen in the staging stack. You can change when staging events occur by moving them between
Nice,
stages.
if so.
You can also add,
Wonder who wrote
remove,
that.
or reorder stages. Best of all, you can do this in both the VAB and in flight. The staging order begins at the bottom of the
Oh,
staging
look at the little
stack.
demo video. I don't remember that
You
either.
want your
Yeah, this all
boosters
must
and
be
main engine to fire together for maximum thrust.
stuff that was
The solid
put
fuel
in
boosters
well
are
after I
currently in the
stopped
second stage.
caring at
If
all
we don't
about
change anything,
playing through the
boosters
tutorials.
will ignite late and detach themselves at the same time. This would be embarrassing
That's
for
great.
everybody. So let's move the boosters down to stage 1.
Okay.
Your solid fuel boosters burn very hard and very fast, so they will run out of fuel first. Even though your main engine and boosters will activate at the same time, you want to drop the empty boosters before you drop your main engine. You'll add a new stage above stage 1 to do one thing. Activate the radial decouplers to jettison your spent boosters. Now move all 4 radial decouplers from stage 4 to your new stage 2. All done. Your remaining stages are set up so that stage 4 will activate your orbital stage's engine. Stage 5 will
Seems
detach
like we're gonna
the
have a
orbital
lot of
stage's fuel
thrust.
tank when it's empty. And stage 6 will deploy
But this
your
is all gonna
landing
get reset,
parachute.
right? So
Thanks to you, this
Yeah.
rocket is ready
let's
to
consolidate
fly.
our stages because, you know, we're pros.
ready to light this candle. In this flight, you're going all the way to orbit. I'll walk you through the process of launching, executing a gravity turn to get moving sideways, coasting to orbital altitude, and doing a final burn at the top of your arc to establish a stable orbit. Before we begin, let's talk about the nav ball. The nav
that's a
ball
cool
shows
animation.
your vehicle's orientation relative to the horizon. The blue half of the ball represents the sky, and the brown half represents the ground. The level indicator
Very
at the center
good.
shows your vehicle's orientation. When you turn, the ball turns. When you roll,
That
the
is
ball
really
rolls.
slick.
Assuming you want your rocket
Makes
pointed
things
at
clear.
the sky, you'll want to see lots of blue on the nav ball.
Again, things that,
Confused? Remember this rhyme.
you know,
If the nav ball's brown, you're going down.
not true, Paige. It's hard to forget
At
that
launch,
for
you
longtime
want all your
players that
engines at maximum thrust,
things like the
which
nav
means
ball
you
don't
need
make
to
a
set
lot
your
of sense, and you
throttle
have to
at 100%.
clearly illustrate it
Your
somehow.
solid fuel boosters are way ahead of
Why
your
are my
rockets. They have
SRBs
no
drained
setting
of
other than full
their
throttle,
fuel?
and they can't be shut off once they're lit. Once you hit the go button, they'll go full tilt
I'd like
until they run
more
out of fuel.
in my SRBs,
Still,
please.
your main engine's throttle is in your control. You can see your fuel levels are visible within the staging stack. Right now, you can see that your main engine and 4 boosters are all topped off and ready to rumble. It's time to go. At the start, all you need to do
But Paige,
is
they're
fly
not.
straight
They're not
up.
topped off.
I'll check back in with you once
Ah,
those
whatever. We
boosters
can
are
get to
empty.
orbit. I'm sure this thing has
Good
plenty of
luck.
delta V. Let's go. Yeah, too fast. Throttle down the central engine. We'll just run on the SRBs for now. And I'm going to start pitching now. She probably has some plan where I'm supposed to go up to 1 kilometer or something like that, but screw it. We're going to do it the right way.
Every stage has its time. This one was a little too soon.
What?
Let's try again.
What, I can't... Really? Okay, you know what? No, no, nope, nope. I did nothing wrong. Should I try it again now? I don't know what failed to trigger there. I don't want to skip it. I want to skip it. Oh, I understood that reference. Forgot what that guy's called. Yeah, I'm gonna skip it. Yeah, I'm skipping it. I don't care. I can get to orbit, Paige. I don't need your help. Sorry.
Orbits are weird. Remember your orbiting baseball? What if you wanted to make its orbit higher? Well, it's a baseball, so grab your bat and try to hit the ball to a higher orbit. Your first thought might be to try to deflect the ball upwards. Unfortunately, hitting the ball upward bends its orbit so that it hits the ground before it can return to you. What you need to do is hit the ball in the direction it's already moving, adding to its already high velocity. Now that you've sped the ball up, why isn't it flying any higher? It just keeps whizzing by at the same height it always did. After all, I said that making it go faster would make it go higher. What gives? The ball is actually going higher, but it's going higher on the opposite side of the planet from where you're standing. You've raised its orbit, and you've learned the first lesson of orbital maneuvering. Your actions affect the opposite side of your orbit. Weird, huh? So your ball is moving faster, but it's still passing you at the same height. How do you get its orbit higher on this side of the planet? Now that you know how changes in velocity affect the other side of your orbit, you've got all you need. By adding velocity to the ball at the highest point in its orbit, you raise the lowest point in its orbit and make it circular again.
Alright, let's do it. Let's pretend like we made it to orbit the last time.
An equatorial orbit is good, but if you want to travel beyond Kerbin, you'll need to manipulate your orbit. Let's start with something simple, expanding an orbit. We do that by increasing the value of our apoapsis. Let's get a good view. Remember how you circularized your orbit by increasing your forward velocity? To raise your orbit, you'll just do more of the same. It's time to burn prograde. Now that we're pointed the right way, we can increase the throttle and watch our orbit expand.
Kind of glossed over the alignment between the prograde marker on the dialogue there and what that means in real life.
So we will enter high orbit there. Waiting to reach a specific point can be as eventful as watching the neon stripes on your
I mean, how
rover
would you
drive.
make it clear?
The paint job will be worth it, but isn't it better to rush to the end? Skip ahead to the good stuff using a time warp.
I always thought it would be cool, and there's
Like
I
said
think there's a
earlier,
KSP1
the
mod
highest
that
point of
does
our
this,
orbit is called
that
the apoapsis.
projects
The lowest
the
point of our orbit is known
orbital
as the periapsis.
sort of compass
By default,
directions
your camera is
onto the
focused on your vessel,
skybox at
so if you
infinite
can't see
distance.
either of these points,
So
adjust your camera.
even in flight mode, you can look around and see which directions are prograde and
Scroll the
retrograde and
middle
so
mouse
on.
wheel to zoom in and out. Double-click an
I've always
object
wanted
to center your camera on it.
KSP2 to do that.
Click the Excellent.
I forgot what
You
mod
can
it's called for
time warp to any
KSP1, but
position on your trajectory by selecting a point on your vehicle's
it's just a
current
very
path,
elegant solution.
And then selecting time warp to point. Now you're way up in the sky. So high that if you circularize your orbit now, you'll be in high orbit. Wow, Kerbal Space Center looks so small from here.
Okay, let's do it.
From command pods to space probe cores, a lot of critical rocket parts use electric charge. You'll want to design your rocket so it can generate and store EC. Most rocket engines generate electric charge while active, but we'll still need a way to keep our batteries full while coasting between maneuvers. Solar panels convert Kerbal's light into EC for our rockets. Small solar panels can just be placed, but large solar panels are delicate and must only be deployed once we're out of the atmosphere. I've equipped this rocket with 2 deployable solar panels. Here's a hand crank. Get to work. Just kidding. There's a handy
This
button
is a
that opens
great
all of
button,
them with
though.
a single click. Give it a try.
Just the
Great.
automatically
Solar
deploy
panels are
solar
now
panels button. You
extended.
don't have to set an action
Light
group.
tracking Excellent. The solar panels
Once again,
are
one of those
soaking up
little
all of those
things.
sweet photons
It's
and giving our
tiny
rockets some
and
much-needed
obvious.
EC. You can see the status
And there's
of
probably a
any
mod
solar
for it, but I
panel
wish I
within
could
the
just
part
take it and put it in
manager the
KSP1.
electrical parts menu. You can either access the app directly
Rocket
by clicking
works.
the
Make
app
sure you have a button
or
like
you can
that
right-click
in your
a part
game.
to directly access it in the part manager.
I wonder if it deploys antennae as well, because it should. In KSP1, I always group my solar panels and antennas together. What am I supposed to do, Paige? Continue. Oh,
Getting
okay.
EC is one thing, and storing it is another. Most command pods have a small battery, but many missions will call for additional EC storage. When we're traveling far from the sun or going to the dark side of a planet, more batteries means more peace of mind. Have you seen our R&D building? Our brilliant scientists are constantly developing new technologies. New technology means new parts to play with. Exciting, right? There is one teeny catch. Our scientists don't get out much. Outside of the launch pad, the majority of the KSC's
the
explosions
science
happen
system.
at R&D. After the great bathroom break incident,
Oh,
the
hi,
team has
Val.
decided to stay put. Seriously, they've installed bunk beds in the break room.
I am really so happy we got for
That's
science
where we
out.
come in. While our scientists are hard at work, it's up to
It
us
really
to
makes
give
the
them
game
all the
at
data
least
they
a
crave.
game.
Who
At
do you
least
think
some kind
pilots
of
our
a
probes?
progression system.
We earn science by
And the science
completing
system is
missions and performing
probably
experiments.
maybe a little
Feel free to visit
oversimplified for my
Mission Control
taste,
for
but
the rundown on missions.
it is
I'm
way
here
more
to guide you
fun
through
than
performing
KSP1's
Experiments are performed
tiny
at
button
research
clicker
locations, a
simulator
combination of place
5000.
and situation. For
Um,
example, low orbit and high orbit around
just having
Earth
one
are
button you
two
can
of
click
those
and just
locations.
give me all the relevant science for where
Other
I am. I got
situations
here,
include
gimme.
being landed in a certain geographic region. swimming in the water.
It pushes all those little
over Kerbin's majestic mountains.
all those little buttons of I'm winning the thing.
Experiments are performed by special
I don't know, what is it,
parts.
frisson that they
Each
call that? The
experiment
little
will
sounds.
detail what research locations they work in.
I want Paige to
So
stop
read
talking
your
so I can
part
click the button.
details
Come on.
in the VAB. Kerbals on extravehicular activity, EVA, are also able to perform experiments. But make sure they don't lock the door behind them so they can re-enter the vehicle. But Paige, you say, that's a lot to keep in mind. Is there an easy way to tell when I should perform an experiment? I've got your back. Every experiment on your vessel is tied to the Perform Experiments button. It's lit right now, so when you use it, it will activate our General Science Collection module and let us know how the mystery goo is doing.
Click.
It's as easy as that. By the way, if you ever want to perform a specific experiment, or you want to see the status of an experiment, you can use the Part Action Manager. All of our experiments have been performed, and the research reports are available for us to read. Let's see what we've got. The research inventory shows all research reports that are on our vessel. You can see what we've learned, how much it's worth, and even transmit certain reports back to KSC. There are two types of research reports. Data and sample data reports can be transmitted back to KSC. Sample reports will need to be returned by recovering your vehicle on Kerbin.
Were those a bunch of tiny hands throwing up devil horns on that computer screen? That's great.
Fortunately, we just got a data report, so let's transmit it.
Oh, yep, so fun. Ah, the little beepy noises. I love them. The old AOL dial-up tone noise.
EC and an antenna to communicate back to KSC. If you're ever
It is
planning
very
a one-way
satisfying.
mission for
It's very
science,
satisfying to
make
click
sure
the
you
little
have
button,
both.
hear all the little beeps. I really hope as I play deeper into the game, we don't run into like science return bugs. I really do want to get all my
At some
science.
point, the crew will run out of snacks. Did you know a Kerbal
Not
is
true, there's no life
99.9%
support in the game,
more
Paige.
likely to crash when hungry?
To my
That's
disappointment.
when it's time to head back down to Kerbin, a planet known for its plentiful snack options. First, let's get a better view for this operation. Remember how we burned prograde to raise our orbit? To lower our orbit, we burn in the opposite direction, retrograde. SAS can really help us out here, so let's turn that on. Now flip retrograde, the opposite direction. All right, the rocket is aligned to
Oh,
retrograde.
sorry, I'm working ahead again,
Increase the
Paige.
throttle and burn until
I
our
promised I wouldn't work
trajectory is
ahead.
just past the atmosphere.
No, I'm gonna deorbit in the daytime. I don't know if that matters, but.
As we decelerate, watch what's happening to our periapsis. Once it enters the atmosphere, this rocket is on a path back to the ground. Don't ease off
Should we
the
cut it at
throttle
like
yet, though.
30 or
We're
40?
gonna keep burning until our trajectory
Something like that.
intercepts the ground. This should give
Oh,
us
they
a
want me
good
to hit the
idea
ground,
where our
okay.
capsule will land.
Fair enough.
Now that we're on a collision course with Kerbin, we need to turn that collision into something more survivable. This process of crashing without dying is called landing. Our upcoming stage will activate a decoupler, dropping the engine and exposing a very important heat shield. Why don't you do that now?
Okay.
Great. We're on our way down. And our
Is there a heat shield?
Have you ever wondered what a
There is no
marshmallow
heat
feels like
shield.
when it catches on fire?
Oh, that's
You're
funny.
about to find out.
Why isn't there one? Was that tutorial made before we... No, there were heat shields.
Okay.
I guess it was
we're about
before
to
for
descend
science, and so there
very
wasn't
quickly.
re-entry heating, and
Our
it didn't
friend,
matter.
The atmosphere doesn't like speeding, and it'll do everything in its power to slow us down. This tendency gets downright violent at re-entry speeds. Traveling rapidly through the atmosphere compresses the air in front of the vessel, slowing us down but generating heat. Re-entry is all about slowing down and diverting heat away from the sensitive parts of our vehicle. As our capsule descends, friction with the air generates heat.
Uh-oh. Friction. That's gonna cause some
The only thing
controversy.
keeping us from becoming a shooting star is the disc-shaped heat. Right now, SAS is keeping the ship pointed retrograde,
There we
meaning
go.
the heat shield is facing forward. It's the only thing
Now we
standing
get to see
between
the
our flammable
kick-ass
crew
re-entry
and the
effects.
white-hot blast furnace outside.
And then the ablator is not decreasing, like, at all. Yeah, I don't understand how the heat shields work in this game exactly. They seem either indestructible or they do nothing at all, and it's like hard to tell what happens. Regrettably, the game was canceled before we got to see a lot of the re-entry footage from Starship, because it absolutely would have been taken into account in this re-entry effect. The re-entry footage from Starship was insane, and we absolutely would have made sure that the effects like kept pace with it, you know, kept pace with reality. I think when we were first implementing these effects, there was almost no footage of re-entry at all. There was some from, I think it was either the Starliner or the Orion capsule, but it was very blurry and only from inside. Only from inside the capsule, and it didn't look very good. You couldn't tell what was going on. You could sort of see this like roiling plasma effect, but it wasn't clear, like, it wasn't clear how the colors, you know, were being affected by like the exposure of the camera and stuff. But the footage from SpaceX was rad as hell, and it's regrettable that it wasn't taken into account in the game. Put that in the notes for KSA Rocket Works. I want to see Starship re-entry effects in that game. Alright, let's keep rolling. I think we're almost through the... Oh no, we got one more, orbital transfers. So we're gonna go to the Mun. Alright. I think I can do that.
Orbital transfers. As you know, the faster you go, the higher your orbit gets. If you get moving fast enough, your orbit may cross the orbit of some other object, like a moon or a planet. The closest celestial body to Kerbin is the Mun. If you're looking for somewhere else to fly a rocket, the Mun is a good choice. The real trick to getting there is timing your departure so that the Mun captures your vehicle at its highest point. If you mistime your departure, you may miss the Mun entirely, which creates a lot of paperwork. Let's assume you've left at the right time and the Mun is there to meet you. As your vessel approaches the Mun, it enters a zone in which the Mun's gravitational influence on your orbit is stronger than Kerbin's. This zone is called the Mun's sphere of influence. You've had to go very quickly to escape Kerbin's gravity, much too fast for the Mun's low gravity to capture you. If you don't slow down, your vehicle will speed past the Mun and be flung farther into space. Remember what I said about paperwork? Once you're in the Mun's gravity well, the best way to slow down is to fire your engines backwards until your trajectory becomes a nice, stable orbit. Now you're a moon of the Mun! Ha! Our rocket is in orbit over Kerbin and ready to fly. The mission today is to, drumroll please, intercept and orbit the Mun. To be captured by the Mun's gravity, our vessel must cross into the Mun's sphere of influence, or SOI, the zone in which its gravity is stronger than any other celestial body around it. We're going to create a maneuver plan to figure out when and how long we need to fire our engines to intercept the Mun. Great! Now here's a new trick. We can select any object as a target in map view. Targeting gives us useful information and enables new tools. Once we've targeted a celestial body or other object in space, our maneuver will provide closest pass and plane angle information. This can be very helpful for meeting up with someone or something in space. Right now, our camera is following our vessel as it orbits Kerbin. Let's adjust our camera until we can see the Mun. Then, we want to place this maneuver plan with two things in mind. First, the Mun is in motion. We can't aim our spacecraft where the Mun is right now. Instead, we have to aim where the Mun will be after our vehicle has coasted all the way from Kerbin. Second, remember how increasing velocity raises the opposite side of our orbit? Since we're placing this maneuver plan where we intend to start our burn, we should place it on the opposite side of Kerbin from where we intend to intercept the Mun. Placing a maneuver plan usually involves making a best guess, and then fiddling with the maneuver until you get an intercept. Fortunately, you've got a crack navigator with you today. By my calculations, we'll want to put our maneuver here. Excellent! We've just created a maneuver plan.
So now we get to play with
While
the
we could
maneuver
find out if
system.
our departure timing is correct by just picking a direction and maxing the
I'll
throttle,
probably have more to say
a
about this
maneuver plan
later
tells us in advance how
when we
much
get some more
delta V
advanced
we'll
engines
need,
and we start going
how long we'll
interplanetary
need to
and
burn,
like
and
plotting
what direction our vessel will need to
plotting
point
powered
during the
descents and
maneuver.
stuff. But the
Grab and pull the arrows to
the
plan
way
a burn
the
along that direction. This maneuver is
the way the
pretty
maneuver
simple.
plotter like
We
takes
want
into
burn
account constant
appropriate and
acceleration
expand our orbit.
is really cool. Probably was
Nice.
necessary
That maneuver
for
event towards the end of your trajectory is
interplanetary
exactly what
or
we're
I'm
looking
sorry,
for.
interstellar
It
flight.
tells that if we execute this plan, we'll intercept the Mun.
And it's hard to say how much of a benefit it actually gets us in the game as it stands. Because it does allow you to technically plan more precise maneuvers than KSP1's instantaneous burn plotter, but
We can change
the
the
advantages
starting
are pretty
position of the
slim.
maneuver by grabbing and dragging the
And it
middle
also
of the
precludes
maneuver
you from
plan
doing
along
things
our
like
orbit. It's very common to
precision
define a maneuver
periapsis kick
plan by
plans and things like
adjusting both
that.
the position of the maneuver and the direction
I'll probably
of
have
the
more to say
planned
about it
burn.
once we do more complicated maneuvers than this, but it's a big topic, and I think it's really interesting.
If we don't want to maneuver at all, we can delete the plan, either by right-clicking the gizmo and selecting delete, or through the burn timer. Maneuvers are invaluable when leaving Kerbin. Feel free to come back and practice anytime.
Well, okay, I guess we're gonna go to the Mun now.
We've got a maneuver plan that intercepts the Mun. Now we just need to execute that maneuver and fly to the Mun ourselves. Whenever we have a maneuver plan, a burn timer will appear. The timer shows you how much time is left until we need to execute the maneuver. I've paused the simulation for a moment, so this number won't count down quite yet. The timer also tells us how long we'll need to burn our engines at 100% throttle in order to complete the maneuver. Now let's take a look at the nav ball. A new marker has joined our old prograde and retrograde markers. This is called a maneuver marker, and it shows us the orientation of our planned maneuver. We'll want to make sure that this marker is in the center of our nav ball during our maneuver burn. Luckily, we can aim at this maneuver marker by selecting the maneuver button on your SAS controls. Now your vehicle is properly oriented, and through the magic of SAS and more math than I'd like to admit, our vessel is properly oriented. We're still far from our planned burn, so let's speed things up. While we could rely on our reflexes to time warp at the perfect
There's no
moment,
description of
a less
how the
stressful
SAS
alternative is
works,
warping to a specific point
like
in our orbit.
how reaction
See
wheels
this
work
button?
versus
Select it to warp
thrust vector
automatically
control.
to
I guess
the
it's a little
moment before
advanced.
our maneuver begins.
Um,
Departure burn, here we come.
but in most other games, you know, your ship or your car or whatever you're driving would just be able to turn itself, like as if by magic.
We've
But in this
exited
one,
just
since it's all
before our
physics,
maneuver burn, and I've
you have to
paused
apply
the
torques
simulation once
to your
more.
vessel.
After we
I wonder
select
when in the
continue,
tutorial stack that
remember
would have
to
been worth
wait until the
explaining.
countdown reaches 0. Then
I know
we
I
go
had a
full
whole
throttle until our burn
lesson
timer
planned
reaches
out
0.
for it for
Then cut the
KSP
throttle
Academy had we
quickly
ever
to
gotten
avoid
to it.
overshooting our target.
Because it's a big topic.
Okay, get ready to hit the throttle.
Alright, let's go. They've really plotted me a course here that does not take advantage of our friend the Oberth effect, but the tutorial slapped my wrist for trying to do a proper gravity turn, so I'm not going to question it this time
Watch
around.
the burn timer. We want to stop our burn once it reaches 0.
Let's throttle down.
Everything's
Oh.
looking great. Cut the throttle.
Yeah, I was doing that, Paige.
Great work. You've successfully executed a
Now
maneuver.
let me fix it.
And now we're on our way to the Mun.
Good, I fixed it. Thank you. I'm getting salty at Paige. Be charitable. Be charitable, Pope.
It's going to take a while to reach the Mun, but don't let the wait fool you. We're now moving faster than any Kerbal has ever flown before. When we enter the Mun's sphere of influence, we'll be going way too fast for the Mun's gravity to capture our vehicle. To orbit the Mun, we'll need to burn retrograde once we're inside its SOI, or sphere of influence. This will slow us down enough to keep us from being whipped into interplanetary space. Let's start by time warping until we're within the Mun's sphere of influence.
Can I just time warp to a
That's
point
the sphere
instead?
within which the Mun is the
'Cause that's how I
primary
prefer to do this.
gravitational influence on your vehicle.
See if it'll
Let's
let
get
me.
a little bolder with our time warp this time.
Oh no, it doesn't register. I have to actually
Well,
warp
did you notice that we've got a
faster.
periapsis above the Mun, but no
What if I had gotten
apoapsis?
past periapsis?
That's because we're going too fast to complete an orbit before
That would have been a good
sailing
place
past the
to
Mun.
include the warp to point
Don't
because
worry.
it's
We have time to
it's
adjust.
used so
Our objective
so
is
often.
to slow down enough so that both apoapsis and periapsis are within the Mun's sphere of influence.
It feels bad
Remember
having my
the rule of
periapsis that
orbital
high. It just feels
opposites.
wrong.
Because we want to lower your apoapsis, we'll need to place our maneuver plan at the periapsis. Let's get started.
But you know what? We're just gonna roll with it.
In order to reduce our apoapsis, we need to slow down by burning backwards, or retrograde. This is a little like deorbiting over Kerbin, but we're going to... Maneuver plan set. Next up, let's make sure we're pointed where we need to be. If the maneuver is right, and we're pointed in the right direction, now we need to time warp to the right position. And we're on our way. Almost there. When the countdown reaches 0, throttle up to start your capture burn. Keep burning until the burn timer reaches 0. Shut the engines now. We have an orbit.
Shut the engines now. Not down?
Fantastic. That was some fancy
Whoopsie.
flying. Looks to me like you're about ready to try this for real.
I have done it for real many, many times. Alright. Have we made it through the whole tutorial? Yeah. Okay, well, except for missing the ground, but that doesn't count. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna do it. It's fine. We can fly rockets. I want to move on to the real fun stuff. Man, this is a weird experience. This has been it's weird getting back into this game and seeing it with fresh eyes and playing it for real instead of just trying to grab footage and like hacking myself around the solar system to get footage. This is going to be a trip. It's bittersweet, and I know this first episode has maybe not been too entertaining because we're just tutorialing. Is that a word? Tutorialing? Well, that's what we've been doing. But anyway, hopefully next time we can start really kicking the tires and getting some science and landing on the Mun and all that other stuff that makes KSP KSP. So, if you bother to tune in and you have cared at all about what I'm doing here, thanks for sticking it out with me. I got a long road ahead, and I got a lot to talk about, and hopefully a lot of fun to have. So, thanks for tagging along, and I'll see you all in the next video.